श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। एवं प्रदण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं गुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वर गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषयपूरोगणां निधेतरो विद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्ते नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। ओम नमो धर्माय महते नमः कृष्णाय वेदसे ब्राह्मणेभ्यो नमस्कृत्य धर्मान् मोक्षामि शाश्वताम्। ओम नमो भगवते तस्मै व्यासाय मन्त्रदेशदेशस्य प्रसादात् वक्ष्यामि नारायणकथामिमाम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। So last time we were looking at Shalya taking the role of the charioteer of Karna and then preparing for that battle. As they were going along, Karna calls out all the Pandavas he sees and asks them to tell him where Arjuna and Krishna are so that he can kill them, and he was offering all types of gifts to them. Shalya starts laughing and talks insults, and he provokes Karna. And Karna rebukes him, and then they again continue that argument. And then Karna once again talks very angrily. He talks about Madras and Madrakas, how they are unrighteous, what their character is like, how the family is, the village. He talks about everything, right? And he even insults Shalya and his family and everything, his mother and everything like that. So Shalya, hearing that, once more he says that I am born in a family who performed great sacrifices and we never retreated from the battlefield. We are the kings whose heirs have went through the sacred bath. I am also devoted to practice of dharma. You seems to be like the one that is intoxicated with the spirits, and for all that, I will from friendship seek to carry you for your errors and also intoxicated self. I'm caring for you, and this is the smile of a crow that I'm about to narrate to you. Having heard it, you may do what you choose. So he says that I must tell you what is good for you and what is ill for you, what is not good for you. I must tell you because acquainted with that, I know both what is good and bad for you, especially as a charioteer of this chariot. I should, desiring for what is good for Duryodhana, I should tell you that because it is the duty of the charioteer to tell what is good and bad for the rider. Okay, so again, what land is level, what is not, what is the strength or weakness of the warrior on my chariot and the opposition, the fatigue, the faintness at all times, and of the horses and the warrior I'm carrying, the knowledge of the weapons that are available, the cries of the animals and the birds, what would be heavy for the horses and what exceedingly heavy for them, the extraction of the arrows and the curing of the wounds, which weapons counteract which, and several methods of the battle and all kinds of omens and indications. I am so nearly connected to this chariot, being none else than its driver should be familiar with this. And for this Karna, I'm going to tell you once more I'm going to tell you. So Shalya using now because Karna got angry, he still want to insert Karna and deflate him. But he uses now the role as a charioteer, saying that I'm saying all this for your good. And he narrates the story of a crow, a kaka story. So he says that there lived on the other side of the ocean a Vaishya who had abundance of wealth and corn in the house. He performed many sacrifices, gave liberal gifts, and was peaceful, devoted to the duties of his own varna, and he was pure of habit and mind. He had many sons whom lived with him and who loved and who were very much loved by him, and all kinds of and was kind to all the creatures. They were those children as well. They were very kind to all the creatures. He lived fearlessly in that city of the king that was guided by dharma. So the king was also in that area, was very dharmic. He was following the dharma. There was a crow that lived on the refuse of the dishes that set out by the well-behaved young children of this Vaishya. So whenever children put some food out or whatever that left over they put out, this crow used to eat and survive. And those Vaishya children always gave the crow the meat, curd, milk, sugared milk, with the payasa, honey, butter, all those things. Whatever they used to eat, they used to give a share of it for that crow as well to leave it outside for the crow. Like this, it was fed with those refuse of those dishes, whatever leftovers of those dishes by the young children of that Vaishya. The crow became very arrogant and came to disregard all the birds that were equal to him or even superior, because it was eating very happily, it did not have to work anything, it was eating and just enjoying. So that arrogance came in. It chanced that once upon a time, a set of swans with cheerful hearts and great speed, capable of going everywhere, they came to that range and came to came to that side of the ocean where this Vaishya's house is. And Vaishya boy, seeing those swans, addressed the crow, saying that, "O crow, you are superior to all the winged creatures." So they said that the boy said that you are superior to all the birds that fly. And crow thinking again, yes, I am superior. Listen to those children as well. This, from folly and fright, regarded their words to be true, and proud of the leftover food it was eating, he was fed on the crow, then alighting in the middle of those swans that were sitting there. Uh, it desired to go among them, and then he inquired about their leader. Who is your leader? So went among those swans and then asked. The foolish crow again at last found the leader and challenged him uh, among those swans, saying that he regarded again those. He went to that leader and then he said, "Let's compete in a flight." So this crow challenged the swans, and then hearing those words, the swans had assembled there. They began to laugh, and the swans then that were capable of going everywhere at their will addressed the crow, saying that we are swans having adopted in Manasa Lake. We traverse the whole earth among winged creatures. We are always applauded for strength and distance of we traverse. Being as you are only a crow, how can you, O fool, challenge the swan endued with his might and capable of going everywhere at will, doing at large distances and courses and things like that in his flight? How can you do that as a crow? Tell us how you will fly with us. And this crow, which was very boastful of his bragging always, in consequence of its foolishness, uh, repeatedly finding fault with the words of those swans, at last gave an answer. The crow said that, "I shall without doubt fly, displaying 101 different kinds of motions, doing every 100 yojanas in separate and beautiful kinds of motions. I will display all these motions to you when we go to sky." And rising up, swooping down, whirling around, coursing straight and proceeding gently, advancing steadily, and performing diverse courses of up and receding back, and soaring high and darting forward, soaring upwards and with fiercer velocity, and once more proceeding gently, and then proceeding with great impetuosity, and then once again swooping down, whirling around, and advancing steadily, rising up by the jerks and soaring straight, and then once more falling down and wheeling in circles and rushing proudly, diverse and various other kinds of motions. All this I will display in front of you. You shall then witness my strength. With one of these different kinds of motion, I will presently rise into the sky, point out, I will show you these motions. I will course through the space, settling the kind of motion among yourself. You will have to course with me. So you will decide who among yourself going to come with me. I will show you. And adopting this again, a different type of motion, you have to course with me. So he's challenges the swan, saying that anybody among you come, I know all type of fruit and think I'm very strong, I can go as long as I want. Type. This crow talks, and crow, when it says that swans addressed him, saying that, uh, listen, uh, listen, again, so Shalya says that, listen, oh, Karna, what the swan said, and then he continues the story. The swans actually says that, oh, crow, without doubtless, flying 101 different types of motion, you probably will fly. I will, however, fly in only one kind of motion, that's steady and keeps going. So I do not know any other motions, as you mentioned. As regard to you, fly you in any kind of course that you like. However you want to fly, you fly, and we will follow you. And when he says that crowd has the crows that have been assembled there, this crow has brought other crows as well. All of them laughed at Swan, saying that you don't know we do 101 different types of motions flying, and you don't know that. Like this, they laughed, and how will the swan with only one kind of motion flight get better than the 100 different kinds of flights we know? So then those two, a swan was chosen, and a crow rose into the sky, challenging each other, capable of going everywhere at will. The swan proceeded in one kind of motion, while the crow coasted in 100 different types of stunts, different types of moves it did. The swan flew, and the crow also flew, each going around, speaking each other highly of their own achievements. They moved around. And then seeing the diverse kind of flights and at successive instant of times, the crows that were there were filled with joy watching this crow, and they began to caw loudly, encouraging this crow. And then the swan also laughed in mockery, uttering many remarks disagreeable to crows, like this they were talking, and then began to soar high and alight repeatedly here and there. And then they began to come down and rise up on the treetops and surface of the earth. And then they uttered diverse cries of indicative their victory and things like that the crows were cawing. The swan, however, with that one kind of slow motion with which was familiar with, began to traverse in the skies. And for a moment, therefore, he seemed to yield to the crow. It was falling behind because crow was going fast. Swan was with only one type of motion it was going. Crow, at this disregarding the swan, it said that that swan among you which had soared into the sky is evidently yielding. All the other crows which are on the ground and watching with the swans this flight that they were taking said that your swan is falling behind. Look at that. So like this, the other crows on the ground started laughing. And hearing these words, the swan flew again westwards with great velocity into the ocean. And then, as it started flying towards the ocean, the crow also going in that direction. Then the fear entered the heart of the crow, who became almost senseless on not seeing any island or any trees where it can perch when it gets tired. So, and the crow thought in his heart uh, where he should alight when he is tired in this vast ocean of water. Where should he send? And then ocean again with a lot of creatures which are irresistible. How I'm going to survive? How can I land? So like this, the crow started thinking, and again, that ocean is dwelled by hundreds of monsters. It's very grand in its space. Nothing can exceed its depth. How can I cross this ocean like this? It started thinking. Uh, the crow started thinking. The swan, having traversed give great distance in a moment, looked back at the crow, uh, and though capable, could not leave him behind. It could have left him behind, but it did not leave. It slowed down a little bit, and then it, having transgressed again the crow, it went further than the crow, and then Swan looked at the crow and said, "Let the crow come up to me." And then it slowed down a little bit. The crow then, exceedingly tired, somewhere far away in the ocean, flying, uh, came up to the swan, and seeing him succumbing and about to sink, and desire of rescuing him with remembering the good practices of the folks, The swan asks him, saying that you have repeatedly spoken of many kinds of flight while speaking on the subject of flying. You would not you would not speak of this present motion which you are having. It's been a very mystery to us because its present motion is very tired. It's about to fall off, right? So Swan asks, we never heard of this type of motion which you are now showing us. What is the name of this kind of flight or crow which you are now adopted? You have you touch the water with your wings and beaks repeatedly. You are touching and then just coming up and then again falling down. What's happening? So what is this move? So I am waiting for you. Come on, let's go further. So the crow, which was exceedingly afflicted, touching the water with its wings and beaks, uh, the crow again saw the state of the swan and which addressed it earlier. Seeing that, then the not seeing anywhere the water ending and sinking down with fatigue and exhausted with the effort, the crow said to the swan, saying, "We are crows. We wander here and there, crying caw caw. We go around. I seek your protection, placing my life breath prana at your hands. Oh, take me to the shores of the ocean with the wings or with your beak." So either biting me through your holding me through your beaks or making me sit on your wings, whichever way, take me to the shores. I am about to die. The crow was very much fatigued, suddenly fell down, seeing him fallen upon the waters on the ocean with a very sad heart, crying. The swan addressing the crow, who was at the point of death, said, "Remember what you said in praise of yourself. The words even were that you said the course of through the sky in 101 different kinds of flight. You therefore would fly 100 different kinds of flight. You that are very superior to me, alas, why then you are tired and falling down on the earth, falling down on this ocean?" So the crow, which was overcome with weakness, looking at that swan, seeking help, it replied, saying that proud of the remnant, whatever that dishes they threw at me, I was fed by that. I thought I'm equal to Garuda himself and disregarded all the crows and many other birds I disregarded. I now, however, seek your protection because now my life is at your hand. Take me to the shores, please. I can return only safety. If I can return my safety in my country, I will never again disregard anybody. Rescue me like this. It begs. So when he says that, like this, weeping, deprived of its senses, it was sinking in the ocean, uttering cries of caw caw. It was trying to and drenched in the water, and so disgusting to look at it and trembling with fear. The swan, without a word, took up with its feet and slowly made him ride on his back. And having made sure that the crow, whose senses are already lost, the swan quickly returned to the island where they had flown from, while challenging each other and placing down that sky, this crow among everybody. And he did. The swans then went to where came from, and they went away. So the crow, on the other hand, having fed from all those leftover foods, was defeated by the swan. The crow then, casting off its pride of might and energy, adopted a life of peace and quiet. So Shalya says that even as that crow fed from the remains of dinner of the Vaishya children, whatever that left over, disregarded his equals and superiors, just like that, O Karna, you are also fed by the sons of Dhritarashtra upon the remains of their dishes. Okay, disregarding again, you also disregard all your equals and superiors. Why did you not kill Arjuna at Virata city when you had an advantage of being protected by Drona, Ashwatthama, Kripa, Bhishma, and other Kauravas? There were like a pack of jackals defeated by the lion. You all were defeated with a great slaughter by Arjuna. What became your prowess at that time? So, seeing your brother killed by Arjuna in front of you, it was you that first ran away from that battlefield in this Kurukshetra. So, by the skirts also of Dvaita Lake, Dvaitavana, in that Dvaitya Lake, in that Dvaitavana, when the Gandharvas were capturing Duryodhana, at that time also you first ran away. Having defeated the Gandharvas headed by Chitrasena with great slaughter, it was Arjuna who rescued Duryodhana with his life and with his wife as well. So Rama himself, O Karna, before the king of before the king Dhritarashtra's assembly, he told the prowess of both Arjuna and Keshava. He told that again when Krishna went for that peace offering, he went that trip to Hastinapura. At that time, Rama and everybody came, Kanva and other rishis, if you remember. So at that time itself, Rama told in that assembly that what is the strength of prowess of Krishna and Arjuna. You did not hear the words of Drona and Bhishma speaking in the presence of the kings that those two Krishnas are unslayable. You will not be able to kill them. I have told you little only regarding the matter of those uh, in which Arjuna is superior to you, like a Brahmana who is superior to all the created beings. So again, Arjuna is Karna Shalya once again says that Arjuna is superior to you, and I told you only a little bit about Arjuna. And Arjuna is like that Brahmana who is, you always say that Brahmana is superior to every other created beings, just like that Arjuna is superior to you and among all the Kshatriyas. And soon you will see in this great chariot sitting there and the great chariot on the other side, Vasudeva and Arjuna, who is son of Kunti and Pandu, you will soon see them. Just like that crow in the story acting with intelligence, you seek the protection, just like that crow sought the protection of the swan, you do also seek protection of Krishna and Arjuna. When you shall in the battle, when you see Krishna and Arjuna, those two of great prowess stationed in the same chariot together, you will not then utter such speeches, O Karna, when Arjuna will, with hundreds of arrows, fully your part, then you will see the difference between yourself and Arjuna. And those two best of the persons are celebrated among the devatas, asuras, and human beings. You are a firefly. Do not enter from folly. Think and or think disrespectfully of those two people who are like the shining stars. They are like sun and moon. Keshava and Arjuna are celebrated uh, everywhere. You, however, are like a firefly among men. So do not think disrespectfully of Achyuta and Arjuna. So those two are high souled among all the men. Forbear indulging such boasts. So stop indulging in such bragging. Go and seek protection of Arjuna and Krishna. So he says that Karna, having listened to these unconvincing words of Shalya, addressed Shalya, saying that which Vasudeva and Arjuna are very well known to me, the skill of Krishna in the management of chariots and the might and the high weapons of Arjuna are well known to me at this hour. You, however, Shalya, have no ocular proof of those matters. I will fearlessly fight with the two Krishnas, those two again great wielders of the weapons. I will fight with them. And then Karna tells him that the curse, however, of Parashurama, that great person, that regenerate persons, pains me greatly today. And Karna remembers the curse he had from Parashurama. And he says that he tells Shalya that I dwelt in disguise of a Brahmana with Rama in the former days, desiring of obtaining the divine weapons, celestial weapons from him. And on that occasion, because Parashurama had made a promise that he will only teach to Brahmanas, okay? And but there was some exception. For example, Bhishma learned from him. There were some exceptions. So Karna went in the form of a Brahmana, dressed as a Brahmana to Parashurama for obtaining all those weapons. And once Indra, wishing to benefit Arjuna, he caused an obstacle by approaching. Uh, Karna says that by approaching my thighs and piercing it, he assumed a form of a worm. And when my guru was sleeping, keeping his head on my thighs, that worm approaching my thighs began to pierce it through. And in consequence of piercing my thighs, a pool of thick blood flowed from my body. And for fear of disturbing the sleep of my guru, I did not move my limb. So Parashurama was sleeping on Karna's uh, legs, thighs, keeping his head on that. A worm, Indra, in the form of a worm, comes and starts piercing his thighs, and blood started flowing. Karna thinks that if I move my leg to remove this worm, then sleep will get disturbed. So I should not do that. He keeps steady, even though it was piercing and blood was flowing. And when Parashurama wakes up, however, saw what had taken place and seeing my patience, he addressed me saying that you are never a Brahmana. Tell me truly who you are. And then, O Shalya, I told him that I am a Suta. Uh, and then, hearing my words, that great Rishi, his heart filled with rage, anger, he cursed me, saying that in consequence of deception, by which you have obtained the weapons, this will never, at the time of need, when the hour of your death comes, it will never occur in your memory. And Parashurama says that Abrahmane Brahma Nahi Dhruvam Syat. So he says that Brahma cannot certainly reside in one who is not a Brahmana. Because so his curses like that. And then because you have got all these things as a Brahmana, those Brahmanas things what you have learnt will not reside in you when the time of your death comes. And Karna says that I have forgotten that weapon in this fierce and terrible battle. He among again Arjuna is great battler, and but I think I will burn most of the Kshatriyas with the weapons I know. And Karna continues, he says that Shalya, O Shalya, you should also, even then, you should know that I will kill in the battle that great Arjuna, that great warrior, that hero with great activity, that terrible person whose energy is unbearable, that great warrior whose promises are accomplished, that son of Pandu, Dhananjaya, I will kill him. And I have that weapon at least under my control today, with which I will be able to destroy a large number of enemies. That again, that weapon he's talking about, that snake formed weapon, and I will kill in battle the enemies and the mighty warriors and with the weapons, and also that great one with uh, immeasurable energy, that great resistor of the enemies, Dhananjaya. I will kill him as well. And again, the uh, even if the ocean with its banks breaking its banks comes, I will resist today, and I will resist whoever comes in front of me. I will resist today, like the continent resisting the ocean. I will today resist the mightiest of mighty, the greatest of warriors that's coming, and all the weapons that's coming towards us. I will resist all that today, and exceedingly proud of that son of Pandu. Uh, that Arjuna is very proud of himself and desiring battle, he will approach me, and with his mighty and superior human weapons, he will come and baffling his weapons with my own weapons in the battlefield. I will today overthrow Partha with my own excellent arrows and scorching his enemies like Surya with his rays and blazing flame like dispelling the darkness. Just like that, I will cover Arjuna today with arrows of mine, and I will kill him with that. With my broad-headed arrows, I will uh, still. Uh, I will stop Karna. I will stop son of Kunti. So Karna says that with my broad-headed arrows, I will stop uh, son of Kunti with that terrible snake poison weapon. I will stop him. And like Himavat bearing uh, the mighty, all-crushing, fierce, smiting wind. So Vayu, it's stopping the wind. Just like that, I will stop Dhananjaya today, and I will resist Dhananjaya today in the battle with who comes in the front of his uh, array. I will stop him today, and today I will fight with the battle with him who was again there is no other person equal to him. I will fight that Sabyasachi and I will defeat him and who that Sabyasachi who defeated all the creatures to please Agni when he was burning Khandava. Arjuna is proud, his weapons strike deep, he is endued with great lightness of hands, he is conversant with horses, he agitates the vast hosts, and he is regarded as Atirata, though such, I shall fight with my sharp arrows, strike and cut off his head from his trunk today. So I will today fight with Dhananjaya. There is none else save myself that would be on a single chariot fight with that Pandava who resembles destroyer himself. So like this Karna says. And then he turns to Shalya saying that why, however, you, a fool as you are, being foolish understanding, speak to me of Arjuna's greatness and it, it, all these things, why you are speaking to me like that? And also, you are a, he says, he tells Shalya that you are a doer of the disagreeable deeds, you are cruel, mean, and being yourself unforgiving, you are a detractor of the one that is forgiving. I can kill 100 persons like you, but I forgive you in consequence of my forgiving dispositions, the qualities I have, forgiving. With that, I will forgive you. You are of sinful deeds. You are a fool. Uh, like a fool, you have, for the sake of Arjuna, you have rebuked me and told me many disagreeable things. Crooked heart as you are, you have said all these words to me that I am sincere. Even though I am a sincere in heart. You are a cursed person. You are an injurer of the friends. Uh, so terrible hour that is now passing. Duryodhana has himself come to battle. I am seeking his purpose, making sure that I'm going to make sure that his purpose is achieved. You are, however, acting such a way that it shows you have no friendship for the Kuru king, Duryodhana. You are, he is a friend who shows affection to one another, who gladdens another, who makes himself agreeable to one another, who protects another, who honors another, who rejoices in another. That is a friendship. But you have not, I will tell you, you have none of these attributes, and Duryodhana himself knows all these things. He, on the other hand, that destroys, chastises, sharpens his weapons, injures, causes to sigh, makes us cheerless, and wrongs us in a diverse ways, is an enemy. All these attributes are found in you. Okay, you are not a friend. Any attribute that need to be found in the friend is not there. Any enemy, any attribute that need to be found in an enemy is there in you. All these are there in you for the sake of Duryodhana, for the sake of doing what is agreeable to you, for the sake of this victory, and for the sake of myself, and for the sake of Ishvara himself. I will, with vigorous exertion today, fight Arjuna and Vasudeva. Witness today my achievements. See today my excellent weapons, my Brahmastra and other divine weapons, and also those that are human, which I will release against Arjuna. Today I will kill that hero, Arjuna, and I shall by my mind alone hurl at Partha that great weapon called Brahmastra. With my mind alone, I don't have to do anything. With my mind alone, I can hurl that because he says that. Again, these divine weapons, they are released through the mantras, right? So you don't need to do any action. So just mind itself, you can do that. And Karna says that Arjuna will never be able to escape that weapon if only the wheels of my chariot does not sink into the earth battle today. So again, he talks about another problem he has, Karna has. Okay, he says and talks about his potential, his chariot sinking into the earth. So I would not take fight with fight at Yama himself armed with rod. So I will fight whoever comes, even if it is Yama comes, Varuna comes, Kubera with his mace, or Indra with his Vajra weapon, or any other that's coming me for approaching me today. I will have a fight. Therefore, I have no fear from Arjuna nor Janardana. On the other hand, I will encounter them both today for destructive battle. And then Karna narrates this problem he has with chariot potentially sinking in the earth. He says that once upon a time, while wandering for the sake of practicing the weapons on my bow called Vijaya, I was shooting many fierce arrows of terrible forms. Heedlessly, at that time, I struck a calf of a Brahmana's Homa cow. So again, Homadenu means the cow Brahmana is looking after for the milk, and from that milk he prepares ghee for the Homa. Homa sacrifices he prepares on a daily basis. So that is called Homadenu. Okay. So his that cow's calf was struck by Karna as he was practicing his arrows. He was wandering in the various places and practicing his weapons, and he by mistake he struck a calf of that Brahmana, and unwillingly he killed it while it was wandering in that solitary forest. And Brahmana then addressed me, saying, since becoming insensate, so since becoming insensible, you have killed the offspring of my Homadenu, Homa cow. Uh, the wheels of your chariot will sink into the earth while at a time of the battle, uh, uh, time of battle, fear will enter your heart. So Brahmana curses him, saying that uh, at a time when you are in a battle of important battle of your life, your chariot's wheel will sink and will enter. The fear will enter. The fear will suddenly come to your heart. Until again, Karna is a brave warrior. Brahmana says that at that time fear will enter your heart. And those words of Brahmana, Karna says that I am experiencing great fear today because today is one of the greatest battle I'm going to face in my life. So that fear is entering my heart today. That great fear I'm experiencing today. And then again, these kings of lunar race, the Chandravamsha, that are lords of other people, wheel and woe, offered to give Brahmanas 1,000 cows, 600 bovine bulls. Even with such gift, the Brahmana would not be gratified. And then I was then for giving him 700 elephants of large tusk, many hundred slaves, male and female, the foremost Brahmana would not still be gratified. And then collecting next full 14,000 cows with each black color and having a white calf, I was still unable to obtain that grace of that Brahmana who cursed me. The wealthy mansion full of every object of desire, in fact, whatever the wealth that I had, I wished to give to him with due worship, but he refused to accept those gifts. And unto me again, for to me, who had offended and begged for his pardon repeatedly, that Brahmana said that again, what Karna tried to do is when Brahmana cursed him, he begged him and he tried to offer all these kind of things, okay, cows and bulls and elephants and mansions and things like that. He tried to offer all that to Brahmana to take the curse back and begged him, but that Brahmana said, that which has been uttered by me is sure to happen. It cannot be otherwise. A false speech would destroy the creatures, and a sin also would be mine if I uttered the false speech. Therefore, for the preservation of the Dharma, I do not venture to speak what is false. Do not again destroy the means of a Brahmana support. So Brahmana says that never again destroy the Brahmana's support, Brahmana's means of life. Do not destroy that. This applies to everybody. Okay. So therefore, there is none in this world that would be able to falsify my speech. Accept these words. It will be your atonement for the sin of killing this calf. So like this, that Brahmana says, and Karna tells Shalya that even though you scolded me and said all these harsh words, still for the friendship's sake, I have told you these curses and these fears I have at this. And no, I know that you are rebooking me like this. Be silent now and hear what I will presently tell you. So then Karna, silencing Shalya, once more addresses him, saying that in answer to which you have said to me, by the way of instance, I tell you that I am incapable of being frightened. So you told me all these stories and everything, but I still tell you, you cannot frighten me in this battle with the war of words. Again, if all the devatas with Indra would fight me, I would still not feel any fear in my heart. And what about Krishna and Arjuna? I am incapable of being frightened by means of the words. That's why Vaushalya, he whom would be able to frighten me in the battle is some other person. You can frighten somebody else, but not myself. You have spoken many bitter words. Again, therein lies the strength of a person that is low. You are a low person. You are not of good conduct. That your words show that. Incapable of again speaking of any of my merits, you say many bitter things about me. You are of wicked heart. Karna was never born for fear in the battle. Remember this, Vaushalya. Karna was never born for fear in the battlefield. On the other hand, I was born for displaying valor, strength, and energy in the battlefield, achieving glory for my own self. And for the sake of friendship for you, and for my affection, and for being an ally, for these three reasons, you are still alive. Important is the task we have that now we have to do for Dhritarashtra, and that task depends on you and depends on me. It depends on me. So for this, you live this moment. I'm not going to kill you. But I made a compact with you also previously that whatever the disagreeable speeches you utter, I will pardon those things. And that compact is what I'm observing now. And that's why I'm not killing you. It is for that you live here without 1,000 Shalyas, I would defeat my enemies. So again, even if 1,000 Shalyas come in front of me, I will defeat them. Again, one that injures a friend is sinful, and it is for that you live today because I'm not going to harm you because I consider you as a friend. So when he says that, Shalya responds saying that these Karna, what you are ravings that you are saying now regarding your enemy, these are not good, and the words you are saying are not good. As regards to myself, without 1,000 Karnas, I'm able to defeat the enemy. So even if 1,000 Karnas come with me, still that's no good. I still alone will be able to defeat this enemy in front of us. So like the Shalya also responds, and then Sanjaya continues this narration. He says that Shalya, who was of harsh speeches, he was saying those things, disagreeable things to Karna. Karna once more addresses him, listen to him with attention of whatever Shalya used to say, and then he says that Karna tells him that listen to me, O Shalya, what I'm going to tell you, which was heard by me, which was recited by a Brahmana in the presence of Dhritarashtra. In Dhritarashtra's palace, the Brahmanas used to narrate the account of diverse, delightful regions and many kinds of kings and ancient times they used to narrate. A best among the Brahmana, very old in age, while reciting old histories, he said these words, blaming the Bahlikas and Madrakas. He blamed them. He said that one should always avoid the Bahlikas, those impure people that are out of pale of virtue and that live away from the Himalaya mountains, the Ganga, Saraswati, Yamuna, Kurukshetra, Sindhu, and its five tributary rivers they live, and they should be avoided. Like this, that old Brahmana used to say. And then Karna says that I remember from the days of my youth that slaughter ground for the cows and a space for storing intoxicating spirits always used to distinguish the adobes of those Balika kings. So Karna says that on some very secret mission, I had to live among the Balikas previously when I was in youth days. So I used to live there. At that time, I used to see that every town or village there in the Bahlika Kings places or houses, in the houses, they used to have the wine storing uh, place and also a cow slaughter place they used to have. So they were such people. So in consequence of such residence of conduct of those people, those conducts is very well known to me how they live. There is a town named Shakala, and that's a river named Apaga, and the clans of Bahlikas there are known as Jartikas. The practice of those people are very censurable. They drink liquor called Gouda and they eat fried barley with it. So they also eat beef with garlic. So Dana Gouda Save Pitva Gomamsam Lashunaihi Saha Apupa Mamsa Vatyanam Ashinha Shila. So Karna says that those people drink liquor made of called Gouda. Gouda is probably something made of uh, Guda. Guda is uh, sugar, sugar cane. Okay, so cane sugar. So jaggery. So it's made from that probably with barley. So that was Karna saying that's called Gouda. They used to have a wine made out of that, and they used to eat beef as well. Gomamsa. They used to eat. And after drinking that, they used to eat gomamsa. So they used to eat beef as well with garlic and things. They used to eat. They also used to eat apupa mamsa vatyanam. So they used to eat the apupa is like a sweet. Okay, so it's like a cake type of sweet of flowers mixed with meat and boiled rice that brought from the others. They used to eat that, and the righteous practice they have none. Those people of those Jartika Balikas, so they did not have any dharmic practices. Their women intoxicated with drink, divested of removing their clothes, laugh and dance outside the walls of the houses in the cities without garlands, anjans, singing while drunk, obscene songs of diverse kinds that are as musical as bray of a donkey or a bleat of a camel. They were singing like that. Their intercourse, there are absolutely without any restraints they used to have, and in all other matters, they act like they like whatever they think they used to do. They did not think about any restraint. Maddened with drink, they call upon one another using the again endearing uh, epithets and then addressing many drunken exclamations to their husbands and lords, those fallen women among the Balikas, without observing any restrictions, even on sacred days, give themselves up to dancing. So they used to dance and they used to speak harsh words of their husbands and lords. Those women were always drinking. One of those wicked Balikas, one that lived among those arrogant women who happened to live some days in the Kuru Jangala, burst out with cheerless heart. So one of those Balika came to Kuruchandala. He used to previously live among those arrogant women, those drunken women who used to sing and dance. He used to live with them, but he came to Kuruchandala and he used to say that, oh, that Balika Kanyas, that Balika maidens that are of large proportions, dressed with thin blankets, is thinking of me. Her Balika lover, I am their Balika lover. They are thinking about me. That is now passing in the days in the Kurujangala. They are thinking about me who is passing the days in the Kurujangala. They are thinking about me at this time of hour where she is going to bed. She is thinking about me. And causing the Shatadruka, that is today's Sutlej River, Shatadruka and the delightful Iravati, and arriving at my own country, when will I be able to look at that beautiful woman with thick frontal bones, that is chests, and then with blazing circlets, that red arsenic on their foreheads, with streaks of jet black coryllium on their eyes, and their beautiful forms attired with blankets and skins, and themselves uttering shrill cries, those women, when I will be able to see. when I will be happy in the company of those intoxicated ladies amid musical drums and kettle drums and conch sweets and the cries of asses and camels and mules, when I will be able to see. When I shall be able to see among those ladies eating the cakes of flowers and meat and the balls of pounded barley mixed with skimmed milk in the forest, having many pleasant paths of Shemi, Pilu, Karira, those forest paths in that forest, but when I will be able to eat with them, when I will be able to, yes, with my own countrymen, mustering in strength on the high roads, fall upon the passengers and snatching their robes and attires, beat them repeatedly. That means he is a dacoit and he's a robber. But what man is there that would willingly dwell even for a moment among the Bahlikas that are fallen so wicked and deprived of their practices? So like this man used to say in the Kurujangala, thinking about those ladies he used to spend time when he was in that Balika country. Even Karna says that even like that Brahmana used to describe the Balikas of base behavior. The sixth of whose merit and demerit is yours. So again, Karna will explain that a little bit later why sixth of that merit and demerit is Shalya's. He will explain. And then Karna continues, he says that having said that, that Brahmana began to once more tell. So again, this the Brahmana who came to Dhritarashtra's assembly told all this about Bahlikas, and Karna listened to that. He is now telling Shalya. Okay, he's telling that, and then that Brahmana says that Brahmana said, "I will tell you all those things about the wicked things about the Bahlikas." So Karna, Shalya, listen to what I'm going to say. So that Brahmana said that in the assembly, Dhritarashtra's assembly, he said that in the large and populous town of Shakala, a Rakshasa woman used to sing on every Chaturdashi day on Krishna Paksha in accompaniment of with drum. And the Rakshasa women say that when shall I next sing the songs of Balikas in the Shakala town, having gorged myself with booif and drunk by the Gauda liquor. And then when shall I again decked in ornaments with those maidens and ladies with large proportions, gorge upon the large number of sheep and large quantities of pork and beef and meat of fowls, asses and camels, when I will be able to eat. They do not eat sheep, uh, live in vain, like this, that Rakshasa woman used to say. So that's what the Brahmana said. So even like that Vaishalya, young and old among the inhabitants of that Shakala town, intoxicated with spirits, sing and cry. How can the virtue be met, dharma be met among such people? You should know this. I will tell you, however, speaking again about another Brahmana that has said in the Kuru court. So Karna is now narrating his messages he heard through another Brahmana in the Kuru assembly. He says that that Brahmana said that there were forests of Pilu trees and there were 5 rivers flow, that is Shatadru, Vipasa, Iravati, Chandrabhaga and Vitasa. And they have the Sindhu as the sixth one. So these 6 rivers flow: Shatadru, Vipasha, Iravati, Chandrabhaga, Vitasa, and Sindhu. These 6 rivers flow. There in those regions, removed from the Himalaya mountains, are the countries called by the name as Aratta. So Aratta is the name of the countries in that region. So those 6 rivers flowing in that region, and those regions are without virtue and religion. So and none should go there. The Devatas, Pitrus, Brahmanas never accept gifts from those that are fallen or those that are born by the Shudras and the girls of their other Varnas, or the Balikas who never perform sacrifices that are exceedingly irreligious. So, like this, the Brahmana told us in the Kuru court. So, again, in these 6 river plains, these people living are known by the name as Aratta, and those people are like this. Those are one should never go there because those are not religious. That learned Brahmana had also said in the Kuru court that the Balikas, without any feeling of revulsion, eat in the wooden vessels, having deep stomachs, and the earthen plates and vessels that have been licked by the dogs and that are stained with pounded barley and the other corn. So again, they are not clean. The Bahlikas drink the milk of sheep and camels and the asses, that is donkeys, and they eat curds of the other prepared from the various different kinds of milk. Those degraded people number many bastards among them. Okay. And then there is no food, no milk that they do not take. They will eat everything. And these Arta Balikas are steeped in ignorance. They should be avoided. Like this, the Brahmana told us in the Kuru court. And Voshalya, you should also know this. I must tell you again that what another Brahmana told us in the Kuru court. And that Brahmana told us that how can one go to heaven having drunk milk in the town called Yugandhara and resided in the Achyutashala and bathed in the spot called Bhutilaya? So, how can one go to heaven by doing all that? There were 5 rivers flow just after issuing from the mountains. They among are the Aratta Balikas. No one respectable person should dwell in there in those regions even for 2 days. One should not live there. And there are 2 Pishachas named Bahi and Hleka in the river Vipasa. The Balikas are the offspring of those 2 Pishachas, and they are not creatures created by the Brahma. They are being of such lower origin. How can anyone consonant with the duties and scriptures? How can they be anything doing dharmika karmas there? The Karashakas, Mahishakas, Kalingas, Kita, Kikata, Kikatatavi, and Karkotakas, Virakas, and the other peoples of no religion one should always avoid. So Karna says that these are the people one should always avoid. Even like this, the Rakshasa woman of gigantic hips used to speak onto that Brahmana who went in that country for bathing in that sacred waters of Vipasha. Again, if you remember, Vipasha's river story came in Vanaparva. Hope you remember. It is a long time ago, about 3 years ago, I think we looked at. So Vasishta tried to kill himself after his sons were killed. Shakti was killed as well. So he tried to do various things. He jumped from a mountain and various things he did. But he did not die. Then he jumped on a river. The river pushed him to the shore. So then what he did was he tied himself a rope and a stone to him and then jumped into the river. Right? That river untied him and then removed that rope and then pushed him to the banks. So because it removed that ropes from his body, it's known as Vipasha. Pasha is rope. So the tying, right? So the tying ropes and Pasha. And Vipasha is removing that. So that's why that river became known as Vipasha. So again, the Rakshasa woman living in that, from that these Balikas come, and the Brahmana who went to that Vipasha for taking bath there was heard by this Rakshasa woman. The regions are called by the name of Arattas. The people residing there they are known as Balikas. The lowest of the Brahmanas also residing there in the from the long time, very remote times they are there. Those Brahmanas, they are without Vedas and without knowledge, without sacrifices, without power of to assist others in the sacrifices. They are fallen, and many among them have been begotten. They are born by the Shudras upon other people's girls. And again, the Devatas never accept any gift from them. The Prastalas, the Madrakas, the Gandharas, Arattas, and those of Khashas, Vasatis, Sindhus, the Sauviras are almost blamable in their practices. All of these are same tribes, similar tribes. They should be blamed. And Karna continues, he said that you should also know this, O Shalya, that I will never again speak to you. Listen very closely what I'm going to tell. Once upon a time, a Brahmana came to our house as a guest, and observing the practices, he became very highly gratified and said to us that I dwelt long time on the peak of Himalaya mountains for quite long time quietly alone. And since then, I have seen diverse countries following diverse religions. I have gone through all the places. Never, however, I have seen all the people in the country act unrighteously. So in a country, when I went to tour all the places in the world, but every country, some people are unrighteous, not everybody. Okay. And all the races I have met will admit that the true dharma, which has been declared by the person cognizant in the Vedas. So everybody agrees that the Vedas are the true dharmas. Wherever I went, everybody agrees. Okay. And there are some who are not actually following the dharmas, but majority in the country, it is not like that everybody are not following the dharma properly. And again, that Brahmana told us that traveling through various countries of various religions, various dharmas following different customs and things like that, I at last came among the Bahlikas. There I heard that one at first becomes a Brahmana, then he becomes a Kshatriya, and indeed a Balaka would after that become a Vaishya, and then a Shudra, and then a barber, then become a barber, then become a barber, he would then again become a Brahmana. Returning to the status of the Brahmana, he would again become a slave. So one person in a family becomes a Brahmana, all the others falling off the virtue as they act like this. So the Gandharas, the Madrakas, the Bahlikas of little understanding or even such, having traveled through those whole worlds, I heard these practices destructive of the dharma, of those sinful irregularities among the Bahlikas. Like this, the Brahmana who came to our house has told us. So again, what they do is what this Brahmana is saying this, in the Balika country, one is a Brahmana, he falls down to Kshatriya, and then Vaishya, and then Shudra, and then a Barber. Barber means again the Chandala and other lowest of the Shudras. So he becomes that, but then he becomes again Brahmana. So because the Brahmanas are disappeared, he becomes a Brahmana. Like these days as well, right? We see many becoming Brahmanas and becoming a priest in the temple and performing the pujas and all those kind of things. And there are certain institutions, let's call it these days, the cults, they initiate everybody saying that we give you Yajnopavita, the sacred thread, and we give you Diksha and all those kind of things, irrespective of who you are. Shudra suddenly becomes a Brahmana. Like this, the Bahlikas used to do. The practices probably have come from them, the Bahlikas, right? So again, that Brahmana who visited Karna's house, he used to tell that Gandharas, Madrakas, Bahlikas, they do not follow dharma. And Shalya continues, he says that, oh, Shalya, you should know this as well. Again, I'll speak to you of the words of another one, what he said regarding the Bahlika. Previously, in the former days, a chaste woman was abducted by the robbers hailing from Aratta. So the robbers from Aratta abducted a very chaste woman, and sinfully they violated her, and then she cursed them, saying that since you have sinfully violated a helpless girl who I am without husband, you violated me, therefore the women of your family shall become unchaste. You are, O you of lowest men, never shall you escape from the consequences of this dreadful sin. Like this, that chaste lady cursed the Bahlikas, the Arattas, the people living in the Aratta region. She cursed him. That's why the women in that region are like that. It is for this Shalya that the sister sons of the Arattas and not their own sons become their heirs. So this again we can see. For example, if you look at Pratipa, right? King Pratipa had three sons, right? So Devala, Bhalika, and then Shantanu, right? So Pratipa, Devala gave up his kingdom. He went to forest because he had a disease, and then Bhalika was given to his uncle's home. He went to his uncle's home in that Bhalika region. Okay, that's why that region became known as Bhalika. The region was the area is known as Arattas, but since he went there, the Bhalika went there, and he became his own kingdom. That region became known as Bhalikas. All right. So the Bhalika, he went. Shantanu's elder brother went there because he went to his mother's father's home, and Karna here says that because of such a conduct of the woman, there the sister sons became the heirs of the family, not their own sons, because they are not sure whether their sons are their own sons. Okay, that's why they bring their sister son, so that at least some sort of family lineage continue. So they bring them, and then they became the heirs of the family. So that's why the Balika probably went to his maternal uncle's home and stayed there and became the king there. And we saw Balika dying in the Drona Parva, right? So that Balika I'm talking about. So again, the Karna says that that's the customs of that, and then Karna also then says that the Kauravas, the Panchalas, the Shalvas, Matsyas, Naimishas, that is those who dwell in the Naimisha region, and then the Koshalas, Kashapoundras, Kalingas, Magadas, Chedis, these are all highly blessed and they know the Sanatana Dharma, what the Sanatana Dharma is. So again, the Kauravas, Panchalas. So even though Karna is on the opposite side to the Panchalas, he speaks highly of them, saying that they know the Sanatana Dharma. He says that Kauravas, Panchalas, Shalvas, Matsyas, Naimishas, Koshalas, Kashapoundras, Kalingas, Magadas, Chedis, these are all followers of the eternal Dharma. The wicked, even of these various countries, know the religion, what the Dharma is. So even in Kaurava region, even if they are wicked, they know what the Dharma is. The Balikas, however, live without Dharma. And beginning with Matsyas, the residents of Kurus, Panchalas, Naimishas are well, and the others are very well respected people. They are pious among all their races and consonant with the Sanatana Dharma. And that cannot be said for the Madrakas. They are crooked in heart, and the crooked race reside in the country of those 5 rivers. They will live in that along with the Sindhu River sixth. So they live in that region, Aratta region. So that's what that same cannot be said about the Madrakas. Again, as I said previously, this Aratta region, what described is today's Satluj, Sindhu, all those rivers, Pakistan, Balochistan, Afghanistan, the Gandharas, everybody come there, and Persian region and all those regions. Okay, so they follow the Dharma, but they do not follow. Okay, so they think they are following, but they're not following. And on the other hand, the Kurus, Pancharas, Matsyas, Naimishas, all these, they follow as said in the Vedas. So knowing again all these things, Vaushalya, hold your tongue like a deprived of like one who cannot speak, like that, hold your tongue, do not say anything, because in all the matters of dharma and virtue, you do not know anything. You are a protector of the people, of those people, Madraka people, and therefore you take sixth part of their merits and demerits, because the king always takes sixth part of whatever the merits and demerits of those people. But in your case, there is no merit coming your way, because all the people are irreligious, and that's why you probably take only the demerits, sixth part of demerits, and you never protect them, you never guide them to dharmic path. A king that protects is a sharer of the merits of his subject, but you never protect them, you are not one of them, and you are not sharer of the merits. And in the olden days, when the Sanatana Dharma was worshipped by in all the countries, Brahma, observing the practices of the country of these 5 rivers, cried fee on them, cried shame on them, looking at them. Even when the Krita Yuga came, at that time itself, these were evil deeds were happening there, where people were born of the Shudras' wives and things like that, and others' wives and things like that they used to born. And Brahma himself condemned the practice of these 5 rivers, country of these 5 rivers, this Aratta region. And Vaushalya, you should also know this, that I will, however, once again speak to you. A Rakshasa named Kalmashapada. Again, Kalmashapada story we heard in the Vanaparva. I'm not going to repeat again. So this Vishwamitra Vasishta story, it comes this story of Kalmashapada. So the Rakshasa named Kalmashapada, while taking plunge in a lake there, he said that Ilimosi nation, that is depending on others' charity, is a Kshatriya's dirt, while non-observance of vows is a Brahmana's dirt. The Bahlikas are the dirt of the earth, and the Madra women are the dirt of the whole female sex. So like this, that Kalmashapada was saying, while sinking in the stream, and he rescued a Rakshasa, and then king who was at that time he was rescued from that Rakshasa. He was rescued from that, and he used to say that. And I will also tell you, listen to me, O Shalya, the mlechas are the dirt of the mankind. The oilmen are the dirt of the mlechas. The eunuchs are the dirt of the oilmen, and those who avail the priestly ministrations in of the Kshatriyas in their sacrifice are the dirt of those eunuchs. The sin again, the sin of those again that have the last named persons of their priests, also of the Madrakas, shall be yours if you do not abandon me. So, like this, it was declared by that Rakshasa, and that formula is used by curing one who is possessed of the Rakshasa or who is one killed by the energy of the poison. These are the things that said. So everywhere they talk about ill of these Madrakas and Aratta region people. The Panchalas observe their duties as said in the Vedas. The Kauravas observe the truth. Matsyas and Shurasenas perform the sacrifices. Easterners follow the practices of the Shudras. The Easterner sides, today's Bihar, Bengal, and all those things, they follow the practice of the Shudras. Again, that's why they called in this Mahabharata and in these times they are called Nishadas. So they are kind of fish eaters and things like that. They used to call them Shudras, and the Southerns are the fallen ones, and the Bahlikas are the thieves. The Saurashtras are the bastards. So Karna says that they that are defiled by ingratitude, theft, drunkenness, adultery with the wives of their gurus, harshness of speech, slaughter of the cows, lustful wandering during the night out of the home, and wearing of other people's ornaments, what sin there that can they do not incur. So these are all the things that Bahlikas and the Arattas people do in those five country of five rivers. They do that. Commencing with again starting with Panchalas, Kauravas, Naimishas, Matsyas, all these know what dharma is. Old men among the northerners, Angas, Magadas, without themselves knowing what dharma is, follow the practice of the dharma. Many devatas headed by Agni dwell in the east. Pitrus dwell in the south, presided by Yama, and then in the west, Varuna overlooks there, and then north region there is divine Soma lives there with the Brahmanas. So the Rakshasa and Pishachas protect the Himavat, and then the Guhyakas protect the Gandhamadana. Without doubt, Vishnu protects the Vishnu, also known as Janardana protects all the creatures. But for all that, the Balikas have no even special protector among the Devatas because Agni protects east and like this everywhere protected, but Balikas are not protected by the Devatas. The Magadas are comprehenders of science. So if you say give some science, Magadas would understand. The Koshalas, from what they see, the Kurus and Panchalas comprehend from half-uttered speech. If he says half of the speech, they understand it. The Shalvas cannot comprehend till the whole speech is uttered, said. The mountaineers, like Shibis, are very stupid. Yavanas are omniscient. Suras, in particularly, same thing. The Mlechas are wedded to the creation of their own fancy, and other people cannot understand. The Balikas recent beneficial counsel as regard to Madrakas, there are none amongst those that mentioned above. So those things are none of the qualities exist in the Madrakas. O Shalya, you should not reply to me. Madrakas are regarded on the earth as dirt of every nation. The Madra woman is called the dirt of all female sex. They that have their practices of drinking spirits, violation of beds of their gurus, the destruction of the embryos by procuring miscarriage, and the robbing of other people's wealth, there is no sin that they have not done in the Madrakas. The shame on those Arattas, that people of those country and country of those five rivers. Knowing this, be silent. Do not seek to oppose me. Do not let me say anything more. Let me uh, do not make me kill you first before I kill Krishna and Arjuna. So Karna says this and stops. And then Shalya says that the abandonment of the afflicted, and sale of the wives and children, O Karna, exist among the Angas as well, Anga kingdom, Anga in the Anga people as well. For them, you are the king. So Shalya now puts it back on Karna, saying that those who are afflicted are abandoned and the wives and children are sold. This kind of practice exists among Anga people. And recollecting the faults of yours, Bhishma recited that the tales of the Ratis and Atiratis, and that gave to your anger. So Bhishma said that you were a half Rati, and that's why you became angry. But don't be angry now. Brahmanas, and Shalya then concludes to all this discussion. He says that Brahmanas may be found everywhere, Kshatriyas may be found everywhere, so also Vaishyas and Shudras. The women of chastity and excellent vows also may be found everywhere. Even everywhere men take delight in jesting with men and wounding one another. So in all the countries this happens. You have good people as well as bad people. Lustful men also may be found everywhere. And everyone on every occasion can command the skill in speaking the faults of the others. No one can, however, know his own faults, or knowing them feels the shame. So Shalya finally kind of says that everywhere you go, you will find fault. Okay. And people speak of fault of other people, but nobody knows their own fault, or even when they know their own fault, they do not feel any shame. Everywhere the kings are devoted to their respective dharmas and employed in chastising the wicked. Everywhere may be found the virtuous men. It cannot be Karna that all the people of a country are sinful. There are men in many countries that surpass the very devatas by behavior. So Karna says, Shalya says that just because I'm from Madraka, don't blame that there are good people in every country. There are bad people as well. So you need to look at who is good and who is bad. So Sanjaya continues. He says that when these two were battling like this with the war of words, Shalya and Karna, then Duryodhana stopped Karna and Shalya and addressing Karna as a friend and beseeching Shalya with joined hands, he prays to Karna to stop. And then Karna was quieted by Duryodhana and from saying anything more, he stopped Karna. And Shalya also then faced the enemy, the Pandavas that were approaching. And then Karna smilingly once more urged Shalya, saying, proceed, proceed, move now. Okay, so this is all happened on the morning when they are going towards that battlefield. So Shalya and Karna having that war of words. So we will stop there and we'll look at what happens when actually they face Pandavas. What happens? We'll look at that next time.